So I started doing these story times over on TikTok, and they get some pretty good reception. So I figured I'd do some story times here on the YouTube channel and keep it to stories from the travels and experiences I've had during my travels. So in keeping with, I was watching the Boris Johnson PM thing, you know, Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of England. I was watching it on BBC. And if you're not from the UK and from America specifically and haven't seen one of these UK parliamentary sessions, it's really worth watching all the hemming and hawing and stuff that goes on and the here and all that. It's really fascinating. And then they had Boris Johnson speaking today, and then, you know, they did a political rebuttal and all that. So it was good. It was good song and dance. You know, Boris Johnson's under a lot of pressure right now because he's Partygate. Like, he was making these rules where nobody can go out during COVID, yet he was having all these freaking parties over there at 10 Downing Street and you know, and during their parliament government sessions they were partying while everybody else was told to lock down. So it's a big thing out there because people were dying in hospitals and family members couldn't go. Meanwhile, he's on the piss, as they say in the UK. But anyway, how that relates to VFC Storytime now is I had a chance years ago to go to the House of Parliament in the UK, right there on the river in London, and it was such a fascinating experience. And you know, I was one of my friends was having a ceremony in there, so it was a guest list. We were all able to go, and we didn't go through the front door. They took us through a back door, and what got me right off the bat was there's just freaking walls of kegs, you know, beer kegs in there. And I'm like, this is like the House of Parliament. It's like in the US, it's going to like Congress. So what are all these kegs, you know? And then there's pubs inside. So there's pubs. So we got a tour. I was walking through. There's the House of Lords and the House of Commons in the UK. We got a tour where they all sat. We sat in some of the chairs and acting like, you know, we were somebody important, like they all are when they're doing shit. And then, you know, we had one of the ministers showing us around. I think he was from the House of Commons, showing us around. They've got the boards for where they got to be, what they got to do. There's a green one, I believe, and red. I believe those are the colors for their meetings and stuff. And then in between, they go to the pub. There's pubs inside there where they just go get on the piss, have a couple pints, and then go back and take care of business. So for me, that was fascinating. The other thing that was fascinating about that is they all sit there, they argue, they say their stuff, but then they go have a pint together and they actually solve some problems. I'm sure the Brits will say they don't solve all the fucking problems, that's for sure. But they do, they compromise. When's the last time our government ever heard of compromise in the United States? Holy shit. But it was really fascinating for me to see that. And yeah, just the fact that there's pints and kegs and the freaking pubs inside the Parliament building was something special. And then they're telling me stories how sometimes they're up all night trying to compromise, get a deal done, get a deal done, get a deal done. And then sun comes up and they go drink champagne on the roof. But it's like bipartisan. Really enjoyed that. It was the takeaway there was they got shit done with compromise, bipartisanship. But they were on the piss drinking pints in the House of Parliament, and VFC got to be in there and a tour, and the amount of money I spent at the little souvenir stand there probably paid for like Britain's electricity for a year or some shit like that. Anyway, that's VFC story time from the House of Parliament in the UK in London. Ah yeah, there's no life like the good life.